This breaking news is about a political row over Nehru's name being dropped. It's about the Prime Minister's Museum and Library Society now. Now, almost a year after the Prime Minister's Museum was inaugurated at the Teen Murti complex, which served as the official residence of India's first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, the Congress leader's name has been dropped from the complex. The Nehru Memorial Museum and Library, also known as the NMML, will now be called the Prime Minister's Museum and Society. Now, the Congress has hit out at the move. Both Jairam Ramesh and Manish Tiwari have tweeted out saying that those who want to erase Jawaharlal Nehru's contribution to the freedom struggle and the building of modern India would once read The Discovery of India and Glimpses of World History to fathom the depth of Nehru. Now, legacies don't get erased by renaming buildings. Again, this is a breaking development which is coming in, and this is about a political row which is taking place over a name being dropped, and specifically this has to do with the Prime Minister's Museum that was inaugurated at the Teen Murti complex. We're crossing over to our senior editor, Pallavi Ghosh, to get us more details on this. Pallavi, so again, there's massive fury about the fact that Jawaharlal Nehru's name has been dropped, and now that building has been renamed as the Prime Minister's Museum. Tell us more about this.
So basically, the Congress party has often accused the BJP and the Prime Minister of a political witch hunt, and to use the words of Jairam Ramesh, vengeance and petty politics. And it also doesn't even talk specifically, this is of course in the context of the Jawaharlal Nehru Museum, we all know, and library, which has now been renamed as the Prime Minister's Museum and Library. The argument which goes in from the Congress party is that the BJP doesn't spare any opportunity to run down the achievements of the previous prime ministers like Jawaharlal Nehru or anyone who belongs to the Nehru-Gandhi family, so to say. If you look at the argument or the counter-argument, I would say, which comes in from the government is very simple. The sense of entitlement which the Gandhis have, which the Congress have, is something which needs to be done away with. It cannot be named. Institutions, museums cannot be named after only one family. And therefore, that renaming has taken place. That's one argument. We've seen it in the case of many stadiums, many airports which have been renamed in the name of real people, to use the words of the government. Clearly, Congress doesn't agree with this, and according to the Congress party, this is yet another instance of the BJP and the Prime Minister's political witch hunt.
Are we likely to see this escalate even further?
Well, I guess so. A lot will also depend on what the BJP says now, because if you look at the timelines, not just Jairam Ramesh, which becomes official word, we also have Karti Chidambaram and one Congress leader after another who are certainly going to make this an issue. This has got nothing to do with giving credit to real people. It's about trying to wipe out or rewrite history.
All right, Pallavi, please stay with us. We also have Mr. Udit Raj from the Congress joining us on the broadcast right now. Mr. Raj, thank you so much for speaking to CNN News 18. Could you give us your reaction to the fact that Nehru's name has now been dropped from this complex?
You see, I condemn it strongly. See, Nehru ji was not only Prime Minister, but he was freedom fighter. Not only freedom fighter, but he was a great literary person, great historians. So, the way the BJP changing the name, removing the history, and that shows that if they were with the British, they supported the British. Now that is proving it. They don't want freedom. They don't want democracy. They don't want this present constitution. They have hated against the present constitution. Nehru's contribution is not only as a prime minister, but more than that was that he was jailed for 12 years for the freedom of the nation. Who knew? Nobody knew those days who were in jail that India will be free one day. So, kind of amazing kind of sacrifices they had without even any expectation. They sacrificed their life, and now they are being rewarded for sacrificing their life and fighting for the freedom. This is what this government is doing. And government is Brahmanizing the history. The history was democratized, subaltern history. They want to remove that history.
Right. Now, can you tell us more about how your party will seek to escalate this? Are you likely to challenge the court when it comes to this renaming?
Say it again, please.
Are you likely to approach the court when it comes to the renaming of this museum and library?
Let's see what future course of action will be decided by the party, and that will be communicated to you.
All right. Now, what I want to ask you more about is actually a statement that's been made in a tweet by one of your fellow party members. This is from Manish Tiwari. Now, he's saying that legacies don't get erased by renaming buildings. Of course, the intent of this statement is to say that, of course, even if something is renamed, then the legacy will not be erased. But to take a look at it from a different perspective, if you're saying that legacies don't get erased by renaming buildings, then what is the problem?
Now, it makes impact, it shows the intention. Of course, the history will be the history. It cannot be erased. However, it makes impact, definitely. And then they are not going to be here for a permanent period. They will come. Things will be bounced back.
All right, Mr. Raj, thank you so much for joining us and speaking to CNN News 18 about this matter. Remember, this political row comes almost a year after the Prime Minister's Museum was inaugurated at the Teen Murti complex, which served as the official residence of India's first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru. Now, his name has been dropped from the complex. Officially, the Nehru Memorial Museum and Library, otherwise known as the NMML, will now be called the Prime Minister's Museum and Society. We're crossing